No one noticed it at first. Just a single evidence bag, sitting where it shouldn't have been, or rather, where it had already been. 5 years earlier. Inside, a man's watch, frozen in time, and streaked with fresh blood. It should have been impossible. Evidence doesn't move. Evidence doesn't bleed. And yet, that was just the beginning. Over the next few days, more items appeared, items from cases long closed, carrying fresh biological traces of people very much alive, and very soon, very dead. Detectives would watch in disbelief as the evidence room, the most secure place in the entire department, became the epicenter of a nightmare they couldn't explain. A nightmare where past crimes weren't just remembered, they were being rewritten, one fresh murder at a time. This is the story of evidence that refuses to stay buried. The story of cases that never really ended. And the people who paid the price when the past came back, alive. The first time anyone noticed something was wrong, it seemed almost too small to matter. A single evidence bag. Clear plastic. Red biohazard label. Case number handwritten in black marker that had faded just enough to make you squint. It was sitting on the stainless steel intake table of the North Valley Police Department evidence room, right where incoming items were logged before being shelved. The problem wasn't that it was there. The problem was that it had already been there. 5 years earlier. Marisol Vega, the civilian evidence technician on duty that morning, froze over the bag. Hands on her hips, she leaned closer, careful not to fog the plastic. Inside was a men's wristwatch. Cheap stainless steel. Scratched face. The time frozen at 2:17. She knew that watch. Everyone who had worked that case knew that watch. It belonged to Thomas Kell, a man who had confessed, on camera, with a lawyer present, to the murder of his wife, Lena. He had led detectives to the riverbank where he had dumped it after killing her, claiming it haunted him. The watch had been recovered, photographed, logged, and sealed. The case was closed. Conviction secured. Life sentence. The watch had been in long-term storage since 2019. Except now, it was back on intake. And there was blood inside the bag. Fresh blood. Marisol didn't touch it. She leaned closer, stomach tightening. The blood wasn't old, brown, or crusted. It clung to the inside of the bag in glossy streaks, dark red, almost liquid. Evidence didn't do this. Evidence didn't move. Evidence certainly didn't bleed. She checked the tag again. Same case number. Same initials from the original officer. Same barcode. No supplemental report. No transfer slip. No chain of custody form. Nothing. Following protocol, she logged the anomaly, photographed the bag, and sealed it inside a secondary container. Then she called her supervisor. What she didn't do, what she would replay in her mind endlessly, was check the security footage immediately. Because if she had, she would have seen something that would have made her run screaming from the building. 2 days later, the watch wasn't the only thing. It started to feel like a pattern before anyone wanted to say the word out loud. A kitchen knife from a 2012 manslaughter case appeared on a shelf it had never occupied before. The blade had been clean when last logged. Now it bore a smear of fresh blood along the serrated edge. A pair of canvas sneakers from a 2015 hit-and-run case, once white, now yellowed with age, appeared in a new box. The soles were caked with wet mud, as if they had been worn outside just hours earlier. Each item shared the same impossible detail. They all came from closed cases. They all had airtight chains of custody. And they all carried fresh biological evidence. Blood. Hair. Skin. At first, the lab results seemed like a mistake. Then the truth hit. The blood was fresh. Less than 48 hours old. And it belonged to people who were very much alive. The first match shook the department to its core. A partial DNA profile from the inside of the watch bag matched a woman named Erica Mills. Age 32. Local resident. No criminal record. And, at the time of the bag's discovery, reported missing just 2 days prior. Detective Aaron Cole had been in homicide for nearly 15 years. He had seen bad scenes, worse confessions, and more dead ends than he cared to count. He didn't believe in curses, haunted buildings, or evidence that moved on its own. But standing in the evidence room, staring at row after row of sealed containers that should never have been touched again, he felt something new. Unease. This isn't possible, he said. More to himself than anyone else. Marisol stood beside him, arms folded tight. Everything was logged correctly, she said. Access is restricted. Two-factor authentication. Cameras on every aisle. No gaps. Aaron looked at her. Then how? She shook her head. I don't know. They pulled the footage. The evidence room was one of the most secure spaces in the building. No windows. Reinforced door. Keycard access logged down to the second. Cameras covered every angle except the inside of long-term storage lockers. They rewound to the night before the watch reappeared. 11:42 p.m. The room was empty. The lights dimmed. Motion sensors idle. Then one of the lockers clicked open. No card swipe. No alarm. Just the metallic latch of a locker swinging open in silence. The camera angle didn't show the inside. Just the door yawning toward the lens. 30 seconds passed. Then the door closed. Nothing else moved. No one entered. No one left. The system log showed nothing. No access event. No override. Aaron felt his skin crawl. Could it be a glitch? Someone asked. Glitches don't open lockers, Marisol said quietly. It didn't stop there. The knife appeared the same way. The sneakers, too. Each time, a different locker. Always in the dead of night. Always without access credentials. Always taking something from deep storage and returning it later with fresh blood. Then the first body turned up. A hiker had found Erica Mills' body in a ravine just outside town. She was early 30s, battered, defensive wounds on her arms, a deep laceration across her scalp. The medical examiner's report made Aaron's stomach turn. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Estimated time of death, less than 24 hours before the watch reappeared in evidence. And lodged in the wound on the back of her head was a tiny shard of glass. Consistent with the fractured watch face. Aaron drove to the correctional facility that afternoon. Thomas Kell had aged poorly. His hair thinner, his skin sagging, his eyes dull. But when Aaron mentioned the watch, a flicker of fear crossed his face. I told you, Kell said, voice shaking. I got rid of it. I wanted it gone. You haven't left this facility in 5 years, Aaron said. Explain how it ended up killing someone else. Kell swallowed hard. I don't know. But it's not done. What's not done? The evidence, Kell whispered. It remembers. Aaron left the prison with more questions than answers. Back at the station, the situation escalated fast. 2 more bodies were found. One stabbed. One strangled. Each murder weapon traced back to an item that had reappeared in the evidence room days earlier. All from solved cases. All supposedly sealed away forever. The media caught wind. Headlines screamed. Locked police evidence linked to new murders. Is someone using old cases to kill again? The department went into lockdown. Internal affairs, 24-hour surveillance, armed guards. Yet it still happened. This time, it wasn't an object. It was a file. A thick case folder from a 1998 cold case, officially closed after the suspect's suicide. The file appeared on a detective's desk overnight. Inside were crime scene photos. And new ones. Photos taken less than 12 hours earlier showed a man tied to a chair, blood on his shirt, terror in his eyes. The last photo showed him slumped forward, a pool of blood spreading beneath him. Daniel Price. Missing for 3 days. Alive when the locker opened. Dead when the file returned. Aaron began noticing patterns no one else did. The new victims all had something in common with the old cases: witnesses who had lied, jurors who pushed for conviction, relatives who quietly accepted plea deals. People who had helped close cases that maybe shouldn't have been closed. One night, alone in his office, Aaron spread the files across his desk. Solved cases. Confessions. Convictions. Small overlooked inconsistencies. Timeline gaps. Lost evidence. What if we got it wrong? He murmured. The answer came the next morning. Marisol was found dead in the evidence room. No forced entry. No struggle. She sat on the floor, back against a locker, eyes open. In her hands was an evidence bag. Inside it, a gold ring engraved from a case she had testified in 10 years earlier. The blood on the ring was hers. The locker behind her was open. Empty. Etched faintly into the inside of the locker door were 4 words. We were never done. The department shut the evidence room down permanently. The murders officially stopped. Internal reports blamed an unidentified internal actor. Evidence tampering. Elaborate serial offender. Case closed. Files sealed. But Aaron didn't believe it. Years later, the building was demolished. A new precinct was built. And yet, when cases are reopened, when old evidence is unsealed, technicians swear they smell iron in the air. Fresh. Like blood. And every once in a while, an item shows up that no one remembers logging. Still wet. Still warm. As if justice, once locked away, never really stops knocking.